All right, welcome. Here we have a weekly forecast. I'm gonna do these every Sunday or so, but basically we're just gonna go over the top, or we're gonna go over the bias in the next week and what I'm kind of looking for, what I'm kind of expecting. So as always, we're gonna start on dollar, and I'm just gonna do it like everything, just cause. But we're gonna start with dollar. As we see on dollar, as we know, we've just been in a monthly consolidation. Pretty much is a monthly consolidation. As you see, we have this order block high that we've just been meandering around, and we haven't caused explosive up movement here. As you know, this year as well, we do have an election. So therefore, I'm holding to the theory that we're likely just going to be in a consolidation on the dollar until the election, and then we're probably going to have a manipulation move around the election time. Now, that's the theory that I'm subscribing to and that I'm holding to. So we'll see if that is the case. If it's not, then that's cool. If it is, then that's cool. So basically, what I have here is the dealing range here. As you see, we're just hovering around equilibrium. We have come back up into a deep premium of this range here, and now we're kind of rejecting, and we're heading back to equilibrium of this range. I know there's a lot of this on my chart. I'm gonna remove a little bit of this, but basically, right now we are in a heavy consolidation, and we have come to equilibrium here. We've kind of had a decent stop out here, and now we've come up to this order block level. Um, yeah, we come to mean threshold of this order block. It looks like, and now we are rejecting off that, and it looks like we have had seven or so previous down close candles here. If you look on the 4 hour, what does this structure look like? This looks like we have bearish market structure here. Overall, if we measure, let's measure this dealing range from this high to this low. We're now coming back to an equilibrium. So I'm just expecting and anticipating to see a consolidation around this within a deeper consolidation within a deeper consolidation. So I don't really have any expectations on the dollar for this week, but overall, if I were to look at this, we have this order block, but I don't even want to see this traded to. We did reprice right back up to that wick there. So if we are bearish, I would like to see just repricing lower to these equal lows into here to maybe have another stop hunt. But overall, if we look at the structure is bullish on the higher time frame, in my opinion. But I just think that we're really just consolidating, and there's not really much to really get out this except for we're probably going from a deep premium back into equilibrium, maybe into discount, maybe into this order block. I have had my eyes on this level for quite some time now, and I think that we could actually be working our way to that level here. We have that order block in line with that fair value gap. I think that we might want to head there. We might want to head there and then displace higher to take highs, but we also could just be engineering because we have election this year. All right, let's head into NQ. So we look at NQ. If we look at the weekly chart, overall, what is underlying order flow is bullish. We've had two consolidation candles, and then we had our weekly expansion here. As you see, why was this a good expansion? Why would this? This is classic. This is just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. As you see here, we have a fair value gap that gets formed in the market, and then we have a consolidation candle here. We have a big wick on this candle, so we know that this fair value gap is a likely potential draw on liquidity here. So then, what do we end up doing? We end up coming back down to this fair value gap, and then we provide expansion on the next candle. Notice what we've done here. We put a swing low in the market, so I don't think that there's any stopping on NQ. I would assume to have more bullish nature as DXY possibly moves into that sell side liquidity pool right here and then into that order box. So I want to see, hey, are we still bullish here? Do we want to continue to break new highs and make new highs? Obviously, we are in all-time highs on NQ, so the only thing I really have to go off here is standard deviations. We are at a -1 standard deviation, so I'm just going to expect and anticipate some measure of consolidation on NQ no matter what, especially in Monday, Tuesday, just because of where we're at. I mean, there's not really much. Like, we just had expansion, 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 expansion. Like, this was a classic bye week. So, therefore, I'm really kind of just not as interested as trading NQ as I would be at other times within the market. As we see ES, it's kind of the same thing. If we zoom out to the weekly, what have we done? It's important to know that ES actually never traded into that weekly imbalance here. So ES has actually left this as a possible draw on liquidity for later on, not now. I don't think now is the time. I don't think now is the time. As we see here, we have standard deviation. Where could we possibly reach for? I think -1 is a likely objective for ES. I'm just going to continue to submit to this bias until something gets proven wrong. As you see here, let's continue to make new highs. I do want to bring up this IPTA data range. if we see this IPTA data range anchored on the first of the month, where's the salient liquidity for this month? And as we see, we've blown all those objectives here. And where can we possibly do some things at the 40-day and 60-day highs? So in terms of a long-term macro view, I think that this around July 20 or around August, we could shift bearish sentiment. Actually, I want to pull up something real quick because I believe I have a. This is the YM seasonal tendency. As we can see, around July, we have some form of decline that we like to see within the market. So there is a seasonal tendency for us to maybe put in a top, but with this current market structure, I would have to see more significant information for that. As we see, we've taken this high, and after we've taken this high, we've created a fair value gap. That doesn't seem too bullish to me, or it's too bearish to me. That seems like a bullish signature. We've created a fair value gap above that high there. So I think it would take a lot of momentum for us to really get any significant swing lower within the market. We've had accumulation, manipulation, and then distribution. It would have been better for a bearish sentiment with the next upcoming weeks if we had accumulation, manipulation, and distribution, in my personal opinion. But also, this could just be accumulation. I don't think so. We'll see. If I were to be bearish, I would want to see fair value gap into this PD array, into there's not really any other confidence I can really use besides maybe YM or something else. I would like to see fair value gap in, fair value gap out signature to signify that we want to see lower prices. Until we get that, it's still going to remain bullish. So let's look at YM. And sorry, I got a lot of this on here. As you see, we have been just consolidating on YM. Let me pull up YM. Okay, here. Actually, we're gonna go back. We're gonna use this chart for the weekly chart, but then the other. As you see on YM, kind of just lackluster movements here. A little bit. There's non-interesting, and I'm not gonna lie, non-favorable. As we see, we had the stop hunt here, and then we had the big wick showing that possibly want to head to new highs. We came short, claimed this rejection block, headed lower. We have this order block here that I do want to grade. Hold up, I need to. To see if we grade this order block, we can get possible gradients to where we could respect, and kind of just lackluster. We've definitely just been consolidating on YM. We've reached for this daily imbalance that I was looking for. So we've reached that daily imbalance. I want to see, hey, do we want to trade up to these order block objectives here? I think that's what's the most favorable draw liquidity for me, is that order block right there. And then once that gets taken, I kind of have to have a little bit more assessment with YM. Overall, I'm not really incorporating YM too much in my analysis because I mainly trade NQ. But as you see here, we've had this big dealing range right here. We've taken both buy side and sell side. And we've kind of just been consolidating. We've gone from discount to premium, back to discount, back to equilibrium. If we look at this price leg here, we also have another dealing range here to where we're kind of around equilibrium of that dealing range. So we could possibly see more consolidation, more accumulation on YM. If we take this big dealing range here, which I know it's kind of not the cleanest because it's the current contract code, we are within equilibrium of even less this previous leg here. So I want to see, hey, is this a stop hunt that we want to have around equilibrium, or do we maybe want to have another stop hunt, or do we maybe just want to just keep on consolidating here? So I want to see, to be bullish, I would want to see displacement higher now, or I want to see some form of another measure of stop hunt. But I feel like the stop hunt that we've had here has been significant enough. Ideally, I would like to see a breakout of this dealing range here. Not that I'm looking for breakouts in the market, but I've kind of just been held captive within this dealing range here, this high to this low. Until we break out of that, I don't really know what we want to do, but we can make informed decisions here. As you can see, we have taken sell side liquidity here. We've repriced this order block right here into this imbalance here. And we've had a big wick on the hourly. So we've now created a swing low within the market right here with a big wicks within the market, big wicks right here. So I favor more upside potential on YM. So that's going to hint at more upside potential on NQ and ES. So that's kind of the idea that I'm holding into the upcoming week. All right, let's look at Euro USD. As we see, Euro USD has been tricky. As you see, since the dollar has been in consolidation, therefore euro is likely going to be in consolidation too. So if we look at this from this dealing range high to this dealing range low, we're now are kind of displacing above equilibrium of this. So we're creating fair value gaps above equilibrium. So I want to see, does this area offer mitigation if we want to trade back to it? Are we going to offer mitigation here to possibly head higher, displace higher? I would not want to see, if we were bullish, I don't want to see this fair value gap get traded to at all. So I want to see this be a breakaway gap if we are bullish. So let's just mark that in right now. I want to see this possibly be, or if I do not want to see this get traded to at all. If we want to see new highs. So basically that's what I'm looking at on on Euro USD. And we look at, if we look at GU's been more bullish, I would say. We've had this weekly imbalance here. I'm going to get constant encroachment. Where's constant encroachment? Let's map out that level. Look at where consequent encroachment is. Middle line here. Where the body's respecting. Where the body's respecting. Constant encroachment of this imbalance here. We also have this high right here. Act as mitigation. Look at the monthly chart. I believe there's a this monthly order block level I want to mark. And I thought I had this marked out earlier, but this monthly order block is exactly what we end up respecting, and we end up having displacement here. We just had a big expansion candle on the weekly, so we could see some form of consolidation and maybe a little bit of retracement here. But overall, maybe we get a Monday, Tuesday low week, create a fair value gap here, and then maybe just Thursday high week caps the range. And then Friday, we kind of just consolidate. And then the next upcoming week, we trade back from that fair value gap and seek to expand higher. Those are all possibilities of what could happen and what could unfold. So I want to see what happens. I don't trade Forex, but it's just something that I'm going to implement into my, or not implement into my analysis, but just analyze just to get better with price action. So as you see here on NZD USD, if we look at the monthly chart, let's look at the 3 month too. We had this order block right here. Are we in mean threshold of that? Mean threshold got respected perfectly, and we actually have 75% of that order block right there. That'll be interesting when we drop down. And then we also have this monthly order block right here that we're kind of within that. And right now on the weekly chart, kind of just consolidating. But what do we have here? Low resistance liquidity signature after we have after we have taken rejection block here. I'm not interested in the wick because the volume occurs within the bodies. We've taken the bodies there, displacement up, fair value gap in, fair value gap out, down to mean threshold, down to 75% with low resistance liquidity signatures here at the highs with an imbalance above market price that likely will want to get drawn to. But the only reason why I don't think that this is as good of a draw liquidity because we have buy side delivery here. So if buy side delivery was up here and we never had this buy side delivery all the way down here, then I think that this would be more favorable to get repriced to. But overall, we do have a nice imbalance above market price that could look to get rebalanced at some point within the future. And if we look at this, we have a weekly imbalance that we've drawn into at 75% of that order block on the 3 month. And then here we have that daily imbalance now transposed. It's also a daily imbalance here. We've had a maybe SMT here. I'm not going to really analyze that too much, but here we have a nice institutional order block. I would assume that we might have SMT with something here because this order block it looks like an institutional order block. Do we actually end up repricing to that? I want to look at this. What's the high of that candle? 0.59804. What's the low of that candle? 0.59813. So 813. I don't think it actually does. Oh, I could have just zoomed in. Alright, and here we have, so we never actually came to that order block. Here we have a nice mitigation block. I think I was talking about in the next review. But overall, this looks pretty bullish. I mean, I would not assume that we would come back down to new lows. If we were to come back down to new lows, then I would assume that we might be wanting to run all the way down here to these lows. but I honestly don't see that happening. I think this will likely hold as a market maker model here. We might need a little bit more time here within this model, but I want to see new highs. I want to see new highs for sure, and I'm pretty bullish on this pair. And I see Australian dollar, kind of the same thing. We have this order block now that we've now reclaimed, kind of using it throughout this price action here. Look at the weekly. I'm not really gonna analyze this too much because I don't know too many. I don't know the technical side of things. I don't know any interest rates. I don't know any COT data. I don't know any of that sort because I don't trade forex, so I haven't really spent my time looking at that. So therefore, I'm not gonna get too much into forex analysis. But just based off price action, it looks like we want to go to this imbalance right here. So I'm just gonna draw in that imbalance right there. Here on euro pound, I'm not gonna look at that. Here on UCAD, we will look at though. What type of what level is that? That's gotta be a weekly order block or something. As you see on the 3-month chart, we've swept liquidity, we've displaced higher, bullish order flow, we've had a bullish fair value gap here, and now we just consolidated here. And now it looks like we want to maybe break this consolidation here. We have this level here that isn't of significance right now. Monthly chart. We come down to this imbalance here, into this high right there, get supported. Overall, I'm looking at this candle high right there. That should support. I'd rather look at this candle body though, but we never come back down into that. So, or I'd more look for this candle. Sorry, that candle body right there. This is the lowest down close candle that engages the fair value gap. So this is a true order block. This is a true order block right here. As we see, we pretty much repriced to that very nicely there. We're not actually. We don't actually end up touching it. If we look at this, it's just straight consolidation. So until we break out of this, or until we show displacement, I'm not going to be able to analyze this. But I want to see. I would have liked to have seen, if I were to be trading forex, I would like to see more displacement lower first, and then I would like to see repricing higher. Let's look at oil. Let's see, oil has drawn into the objectives that I was looking for. Kind of a nice little model there, eh? Look at where we reaccumulate at. Oh, right at that mitigation. Right at that mitigation. I kind of want to look back in the previous weekly outlook to see that, but yeah, I don't know where this buy side liquidity is really anchored on, honestly. Oh, is that consequent encroachment of that monthly wick? There's no way I was doing all that. There's like, let's be honest, there's no way I was doing all that. No, it's not. But as you see, we have consequent encroachment of this monthly wick. I still am definitely bullish on oil. I mean, underlying order flow is bullish, so I would assume that until we come up to this high. We also have this area of previous mitigation that we have tapped into. Let's also look at this dealing range high and this dealing range low. We have 75% here, so I want to see us maybe come back down. And honestly, this might be what could transpire, but I don't think so. If dollar's bearish, then we likely will get a push to buy side. But let's just say if we come back down, we could accumulate around this 50% and come back up and then use this 75% as a means of silver bullet. Overall, I would assume that we would reach higher prices, but we could do something of that sort. So let's look at gold. I did analyze gold the other day on stream. I was live for a long time. If you ain't pulling up to my streams, then I'll be live every single day. If you watching this video, I feel like that's your real one. Basically, we have SMT here with, I think, platinum. I don't know. I don't really trade gold, but we had SMT here, displacement. So I would assume that we were going to run to this imbalance here. I believe it's a 4-hour imbalance that I highlighted. Yeah, so I'm definitely looking for that imbalance there. Other than that, like maybe let's look at Bitcoin. Let's look at the downfall of Bitcoin. Ooh, right here. Let's look at Bitcoin. This could be interesting here. We could have another little bull run, maybe. No, I don't like to look at Bitcoin honestly. I was looking for this to be a market maker buy model, but we end up coming up to this rejection block here. And also it's Bitcoin. It's Bitcoin. ICT doesn't suggest trading Bitcoin, so I'm not gonna like to trade Bitcoin, and I really not. So we come back down to this balance right here, sweeping this low. I want to see if we get fair value gap in, fair value gap out, so, kind of like this signature right here, to look for short-term bullishness to maybe these highs here. Overall, I want to see, we're likely just going to consolidate here. Like just going to consolidate here. And I don't want to do any deep analysis on it because it's Bitcoin, and I don't think it's that anything crazy. As we see here, we kind of have this gap right here at 25%. We have this gap around 50%, and then we have this inverse around 75%. So I ain't really going to do any of that analysis. I do want to pull up Tesla because I was actually in a Tesla position. I ended up selling it here on this day just to claim my piece of the pie. But as we see, I've been outlining this for a while, and I want to see this become a soup. I honestly feel like we're definitely going to head up to these highs here, but I've never really traded options like that, and especially if I'm trading with my real money. I'm just going to look to kind of just experiment with that, and yeah, that's that. And the only reason why I did trade it with my real money is because I had like a year out in advance call option, and that's why I did that. Normally I would not advise to do that with real money, but basically that's what I ended up doing. I just see stocks just look pretty bullish here. We have put in a swing high on Nvidia, but I don't think that's anything. AMD, we have a swing high here. It's where if we see bearish shift here, AMD I think would be the first one to see these lows. All right, anyways, that's my weekly outlook, and yeah,